Hey, my name is Tanveer, and today we are going to see this multi-GPU distributed deep learning setup using the Docker containers on AWS. And this is the second part of the video. In the first part that I recorded earlier, we tried to understand how to set up the GPU host with the multiple GPUs on it and how to connect those multiple machines to do the distributed deep learning. I placed the link to that video under the description of this video, and you need to go through that video to understand like how to do this setup, okay, and the details about the various components. In that video I tried to cover a bit of technology. There it was a pretty introductory video. This video will be just straight away setup. I'm not going to repeat the things that we discussed it earlier, and here we'll just focus on how to like use the Docker containers to do this distributed deep learning setups. And there are like few nuances that you would need to take care when you get into the Docker. Okay, you can pull in your own image. Okay, you want to like run your code as a part of a Docker container. That's the reason I try to like make this video to explain those nuances and to explain the hiccups that I encountered while doing that setup. So in this video, we are going to discuss like about the content of this video is around these four topics. Okay, how to create the Docker containers for this particular setting. I mean, this setting is when you have the machines with the multiple GPUs and you have the multiple machines. So you can scale it to like any number of machines using the same setup. And I'm going to explain the nuances that you would need to consider while setting up your Docker container. The second thing is how to build the connectivity between the containers running on, I should have written it, on a different machines with GPUs. Okay. The third thing is like we are gonna install the NCCL test, okay, to test the link between the machines and how it's working, and then we are gonna test the setup for like the final confirmation. So the setup that I'm gonna build, okay, it's gonna look like this. Okay, so I have this machine. This is my machine one. Okay, and I have this second machine. This is my machine two. This machine has what, 8 GPUs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let me make it 8. Okay, and this machine does contain the same 8 GPUs. Okay, so we'll have the container. This is my container one, and this is my container two. And these containers will use the GPUs for this machine and this machine. Okay, and this one will use the GPUs of, let me put it into a different color. Yeah, this is good. This will use this GPUs and this GPUs. So in short, like in the containers, the GPUs between the machines will be visible. Okay, and they'll be able to utilize it, and that we are gonna check it through using our NCCL test. Okay, so I'm gonna log on to the machines, and let's start the setup. Okay, so I'm getting into the first machine. Get into SSH, the first machine. SSH, the second machine, and let me go back to the walk. So I'm gonna start the terminal. My terminal is here. Okay, let me switch on to the Mac. Okay, I can see the Mac. So I'm opening my terminal. Okay, I'll open the two terminal so that I can work on both the machines. Okay, and we'll do an SSH. So let me get into the first machine. So this is my first machine. Okay, where I'm trying to log on. Pro. Yeah, I got into the first machine. Let me just make the phones bigger so that they are visible. Why? Come on. Okay. So I'm gonna log into the second machine. Yeah, this is my second machine. Clear. So I'll just do a clear. I'll show you the GPUs that I have it on this machine. So I have like this 8 GPUs, 800 each with 40 gigs. So I'll have like 320 gigs of memory. And here as well, I have another 8 GPUs. So in the entire setup, okay, I will have like 640 gigs. Let me go back and write it over there. Okay, so I'm on my iPad. Okay, I'm on my iPad. So this machine has 8 800 with 40 gigs each. This machine has 8 800 with 40 gigs each. So after this setup, we will have like total 16 GPUs, which is 800, and total memory, GPU memory will be 320 plus 320 is 640 GB. Okay, so this is a setup that we are going to build it out. So let me switch on to the terminals. Control I. I'll just quickly check it out. Oh, control, I'm sorry. So I have on this machine, and why this got opened up. Okay. So I'll do a clear over here. I'll do a clear over here. So I already have built a container. I'm going to stop at Docker container PS. If my container is running, Docker container stop iLab. That's a container I actually created. Docker container stop iLab. Okay. So let it get stopped. Okay. In the meantime, I'll go back to the commands that I created. Okay. And I'm going to create the container. So we are going to see the Docker command to create the containers in which the GPUs are able to communicate with each other, and the GPUs are able to communicate between the machines or between the containers that are deployed on the different machine. So in last video, we have seen like to enable this distributed deep learning setup, we need to open up the traffic between the two machines which were in the same security group or under the VPC. So there we went there and allowed all the traffic between between the machines which shared that security group as an inbound and the outbound, because a lot of data needs to be copied or data needs to be moved from one machine to another machine, from one GPU on one machine to the GPU on the another machine, and that requires like multiple ports being opened up between the machines and sharing the data. So we opened the traffic between the two machines by relaxing the inbound and the outbound rules. Since we have already done it, right, while creating a Docker container, we need to ensure that we are realizing the network characteristics of the host machine. So you have the Docker container running on the host machine, right? The host machine has its own IP address, has its own port which are being opened. To make it easy, while creating a container, I specified this option minus minus network host, which will enable the Docker container to just mimic the network, the port and the IP address of the host machine. So we don't have to like map each and individual port like minus P888 to so that the Docker ports are mapped to the host ports. So here, whatever the host ports are, the Docker will use that only. Then I specified an option called minus minus GPU all. So this will help the Docker to like see the GPUs inside the container. So we had the GPUs on the host container, right? So there is something called as an NVIDIA container Docker NVIDIA container runtime environment. So if that is installed, right, you can use your GPUs inside the Docker container. And to do that, you need to specify minus minus GPU all. Then we have this thing privilege. Okay, so minus privilege will enable you to have supervisory roles in the Docker container. Minus minus name is the name of the container, so I named my container as a lab. Okay, and these are the other. Minus v specifies the volume mounts. Okay, so the volume mounts are the directories on my host machine which I want to use it on the Docker container. The first part is the location, okay, on my host machine, and the second part, the right of this column, is the directory path that I want to refer it on the container. You can have the one path on a host machine and you can refer it with a different name in the Docker container, but to keep the things simplified, I just use the same name which was there on the host machine as on the Docker machine. So in my last video, we have seen like we need to install multiple components, which includes like things like CUDA, the CUDA compiler. Okay, then we need to add something called as a GDR copy, which enables the GPU to copy the data directly between each other instead of involving the CPU and the RAM, so that we save the multiple copy of the data. It helps us in like improving the bandwidth and the latency. So that GDR copy, we already built it on the host machine. So using this user bin, it contains the binaries for the GDR copy on the host machine. So I'm gonna use that binaries, right, which I already installed it over there. So we can see here. Okay, we can see like GDR copy plat, GDR copy sanity, GDR copy BW, all those GDR copy things. So by mapping this volume over there will enable me to use all these commands in the container itself. This mnt/data is a volume that we added. That volume has a space of like 2 terabytes. So we are gonna put the large models like Mixtral for the weights, and we need to use and that's going to require a lot of space, right? That's going to require almost like few hundred GBs, and then we are going to train, which will create the checkpoints as well. Okay, so it needs like more storage. So this is a mount point where we have a 2 terabytes. Okay, I just mapped the mount point to the container using the minus "-v". This dev SHM is for mapping up the RAM. So it will enable us to use the complete RAM of the host machine, right? Otherwise, you may land up into an out of memory, not on the GPU, but on the RAM. NCCL is a library that we built in the previous video, which basically enables the communication between the GPUs, between the machines, and which is of a very like high bandwidth, low latency kind of a thing. We are going to use the same installation. Okay, so I'm not going to install it over there. EFA is an Elastic Fabric adapter we have seen in the last video that also we built it on a host machine. OpenMPI is an open message passing interface in which you can run a lot of processes into a distributed manner. Okay, so that also we built it on a host machine. So I'm going to just use those installation as it is. And then we have this AWS official NCCL. So AWS has written an adapter on top of an NCCL. So AWS has done some sort of a network optimization. Okay, now for their infrastructures to use those optimizations, we have to use this adapter. That also we installed in the previous video. If you want to look at like how to install, you go back to the previous video. And if you just want to use that host installation in the container, just map it there. And this is a base image that I'm gonna use it out. So I'm gonna build this container, okay, on both the machines. So we need to mimic the exact setup, right, to enable this distributed environment. Okay, so we are gonna set up the environment on both the machines, and we need to basically set exact same containers with exact same libraries on both of the host machines, and that's how we replicate the environments on both the machines, and, and then they'll be able to communicate to each other. So we'll start with building up the Docker container on both the machines. So this is the Docker command that we discussed it earlier. and I'm gonna just run the Docker command to create the container on both the machines. Okay, before that, we'll just see what containers are present. So Docker container ps minus a. This will give us like what containers are present on my machine. So I have a container named lab, but this container I'm gonna create it with a different name called as lab. Okay, so I'll just hit an enter. So we can see a container is initialized. This is first machine. This is the second machine. So we initialize the container. We created the container, but those containers are not running yet. So we'll start the container. Docker container start lab. Okay, I had started the container. Docker container start lab. Now I'll check if the container is running. The Docker container ps. Okay, so this my container has started and it's being up for like uh, for 17 seconds. Okay, I created it like 43 seconds. So that's the time difference between Docker create and Docker start. Docker container ps. Okay, so I'll just go it bit up. Okay, so my both the containers have started. Okay, so this is Docker container ps on the second machine. So we have the container up and running. Now I'll get into the container, and to get into the container, I'm gonna use Docker exec it lab bin bash. So it will directly get me to the container. I'll do the same over here. So I'm on the container. So I'm on this container, which is on 172.31.15.13, and this machine is on another container, which is on 122.31.11.22.13. So we'll just see if our containers can see the GPU there. The GPUs are accessible from the container because we specified that minus minus GPU options were there. So here I could see like all these 7 containers or 7 GPUs. I'll do the same over here. NVIDIA SMI. Okay, and I can see all the 7 containers. Okay, all the 7 GPUs that we launched. Let me just make it a bit bigger actually. So I'll do control. Okay, so I'll go to this machine. Okay, and we'll start the stuff over there. So now we are gonna export the paths first. Okay, so that we can run the commands easily. So I'm exporting this EFA. I'm exporting MPI. I'm exporting this CUDA. Okay, and AWS official NCCL. Okay, right, and I'll export it over there as well. Okay, so I exported. Now first we'll check the GPU. We have already checked the GPUs by NVIDIA SMI, which was our favorite command to check the GPUs. Okay, so that part is being done. Okay, we can mine this thing for a shorter one. Okay, so yeah, so we have the 8 GPUs, and here we'll find the same thing. We have the 8 GPUs. So NVIDIA is there. Now we are gonna do NVCC minus version to see the CUDA compiler. The CUDA compiler is there with the version 11.8. Okay, here I'll check the CUDA compiler again, and VCC minus minus version, and we can see the CUDA compiler over here as well. So that seems to be pretty cool. We have these 2 things. Now we are gonna check for the other things that we needed for this communication. So the first thing that we needed was the GDR copy. So I'm just gonna do a sanity test. Okay, it's gonna take some time to run it, but we'll verify whether the GDR is working on it. The GDR seems to be working because it's taking time to run the test. So we are pretty good on that. And after that, I'm gonna check the EFA. Then we are gonna basically install something like we are gonna do a sudo apt-get update, which will install the dependencies. Then we are gonna install the Vim, which is my favorite editor on the Unix. Then we are gonna do wget to like uh, to enable the Docker with the wget command. And lsof, we want to see if a particular process is being run on the domain. Okay, so it's still running. Well, let it finish. Okay, in the meantime, what we are gonna do, okay, so I'll open the board. Uh, it's still running. This is also still running. Okay. Okay, so once we'll let it run. So what we basically need to do is we have the situation like this now. Okay, we have this machine. Okay, and we have this container C1. Machine has the GPUs. Then we have the second machine, and it has the container C2. In earlier video, we are able to do a passwordless connectivity between this machine to this machine using SSH in a passwordless manner. We copied the keys of the public key of this machine onto this machine, the public key of this machine to this machine, so that works. But what we need to do now is we need to ensure these containers are also able to access each other via passwordless. Okay, so that's something that we would need to set. Okay, I'll go back to okay, I'll go back to here and we'll see. Like this GDR copy seems to be worked fine. There are like 28 tests. It worked okay. So we have the GDR copy. Then we'll verify the EFA, whether the EFA is there or working. Okay, so EFA is there. Okay, we can see the EFA is there. The EFA seems to be working on the other machine as well. Okay, now we need to come back to the SSH part, right? That we quickly discussed. So we need to develop a connectivity, passwordless connectivity between these two machines. And before that, I'm gonna do some basic hygiene installations. I'm gonna do an apt-get update here, an apt-get update here. Okay, so apt-get update is done here. Apt-get update is done here. Okay, now I'm gonna install the Vim. I'm gonna install the Vim here. After that, I'll install the wget. Okay, I should have done it with Y option. Okay, so Vim is here. Vim is here. So I got the Vims on both the machines. Okay. Now we are gonna get the wget. Okay, so I'm getting a wget, and then we are gonna do install the lsof. So So LSOF is also there. Now I'm gonna see if this thing is running. Okay, so it seems SSH is not running on these two containers. So we cannot do a basically passwordless connectivity between these two containers. So what we basically need to do is we need to install and set up the SSH on these two containers. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and check the SSH status as well as a double check. Okay, SSH is an unrecognized command. So that means the SSH is not there and we are gonna set up the SSH. So to install the SSH, what we are gonna do is we are gonna install the Open SSH server on both these machines. So I triggered it right here and the SSH server on the other machine. Oh man, I should have done it with Y option. Okay. So it seems I got the SSH. Okay. Now we have the SSH. After SSH, I need to set the permissions of these two files. We are gonna do that here. We are gonna do that here. Okay, now I'm gonna set up the permission for the config. I'll do it here. I'll do it here. And that's done. After doing this thing, okay, oh shoot, where is my the command files? Okay, now I'm gonna start the SSH manually, okay, to see if SSH is working or not. So I'll do okay, missing privilege section, run SSH key, run SSHD. Okay, wait. I need to run SSH start. Okay, I'll just check on the SSH status. Okay, SSH is not running. SSH status, SSH start. Okay, starting OpenBSD, SSH server. So this SSH seems to be started. Okay. I'll check it again, the status. Okay, the SSH is not running. So I'll just try running this thing. Sudo user bin SSH -d. Okay, so we can see like the SSH is unable to start because the port is already in use. So the port is already in use because we are using we had used a network parameter to to replicate or to realize the ports from the host computers on the Docker container. So and the host computer uses the port 22 for doing an SSH, and that's how we are able to get into those host machine itself. To solve this error, what we need to do is we need to run the SSH on a different port. Okay, and that we can do by modifying this file. Okay, so I'll just clear the screen. The same problem on both. So I am here. Okay, and I'm gonna change this port number to a different port. Let's say 8001. Okay, then I'm gonna uncomment this listen to address, listen address, host key authentication. Okay, host RSA, host key this, and public key authentication, yes, because we are gonna use copy the public key to make sure that SSH works using in a passwordless manner. And this is for using this key files as an authorized keys. Okay, I'm gonna just save it here. Okay, I'm gonna update the same thing on the other machine. Okay, and then we can start running it. So, and that's the reason I installed Vim, right? I had to update this file, right? So this port 22 is good. Listen to address is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is on comment. Okay, public key authentication. Yes, we need to change it to yes and this to yes. And we have to do a WQ. So I installed I like change the SSH to start it from a different port, and we'll see if we can start it. I'll go to SSH start. Okay, and it says the process is started, but if it's actually running, it will not. Boom, the SSH is running. Okay, so I'll go over here. Okay, and I'll see the same thing. I'll do an SSH start on the second machine. Okay, and I'll check the status. Or SSH is not running. Why so? I need to check it out. Did I miss to change? Oh man, I forgot to change the port number over here. So I need to make it to a different port, which was an original problem that we encountered. So I'm gonna change it to 8001. Okay, I'm gonna do a clear, then SSH start, and then SSH status. STATUS. Boom, SSH is running. So we got the SSH up between these two machines. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to establish a passwordless connectivity. Before doing that, we are gonna update one more thing, okay, on these machines. So this is my 213 machines, and what I want is when I write SSH, okay, this IP address, it should be able to connect it to uh, to to 13, right? I don't want to specify the port number and all manually. So to do that, okay, we are gonna update one more SSH config file so that we can do that. Okay, so I'm gonna put these two lines. Okay, so basically what these two lines are gonna do is whenever I'm gonna specify SSH to host, it's gonna connect to this port of 8001, and we are connecting it from the user lab. Okay, so it should be okay. Oh, I need to do, why it didn't work. And open the file for the writing. Okay, understood. So I need to do a touch to the file first. Okay. Alas. Come on. SSH sudo SSH status. SSHD is running. Ls cd ls minus a strange. I couldn't find the directory. I installed the stuff. Okay, let me do a make there and do a mkdir.ssh. Ideally, it should have been created since I installed that stuff. I don't know why it didn't work that way. Okay, then vim.ssh/config. This is 231, right? So I'll copy it here. Okay, then I'll go back here, vim.ssh/config, and here I'm gonna put the address for the second machine. Oh, sorry, 213. So host equal to this, and port equal to 8001. Okay, I'm gonna save it here. I'm gonna save it. Already save it here. So here, this is going to 13, and here it's going to 213. That's cool. So that part is done. So what we are gonna do is I'm gonna copy the keys from the one machine to the other machine, to the other container, so that we can establish a passwordless connectivity. So basically I'm gonna do a key gen. Okay, it's generating a key pair. I'm on 213, right? So I'm gonna use the same file, no passphrase. You can specify the passphrases that you want. Okay, and I'm gonna get this key out. So this is my key. Okay, and I'm gonna take this key and gonna put that key on the 13th machine. And the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna write echo. This is my key, and we'll move it to authorized keys. Uh, so So I'll go to this machine because this is where I would need to copy it, and boom, done. So let me try to access this machine using SSH from here and see if it works. Cool, it seems to be working. Oh man, I'm on this machine and I'll show you. So I'll create like a test 13 and I should be able to see that thing over here. So I'm able to connect the container from this container to the other container. So I'm going to repeat that key generation process, okay, for this container as well. So I'm going to generate the key. Okay, so there you go. Tishik, 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 tishik. So I generated the keys. I'm going to copy the key. So this is my key. Okay, I had it here. Just make the proper command. So we need to do an echo and we have to put it into authorized keys. So here is an authorized key. So I'll take this stuff, okay, and we'll copy it here. So I'm on the container, so I need to exit from the container first. So I'm the 213 and this was 213. So I'm gonna copy it and boom. So I'll see if I'm able to connect this machine via this container via SSH from here. So I'm gonna put this. Yes. Boom. I'm here. Okay. I'll just show you mkdir. Okay. Where am I? No, I'm on the container, right? So mkdir test 213. I'll do an ls over here so I can see test 213 here. So basically my SSH or the passwordless connectivity between from this machine to this machine is established. Okay, so that's the major thing that we need to do during this setup. So that part we had figured it out by the grace of God. So I'm going to install some libraries which are needed to do our stuff. So I'm going to install it here. I'm going to install it here. Okay, after that, I'm going to install a few more. Mhm. I should have done it with minus y. So this minus y, if you add it, the minus y over here, you don't have to worry about this manually keying this y. So here, then here. Okay, so I'm here. I'm here. So these two things are done. Now I'm gonna install this stuff here, here. Mm, Then we are gonna install these two things. I'm sorry for the length of the video because we are doing a bunch of stuff here, right? And I wanted to do it live, so that's the reason it's taking time. And so installing this over here. Okay, to upgrade it, newly installed. This is fine. Sudo apt-get update. I'll run it once. Sudo apt-get update. Okay, so it's all cool. And that's the last thing I think I would need to install. No, uh, at least with this sudo. I should have done it with Y. So bad. Mm, mm, mm. Come on. Where is my baby? So minus Y. Should have done it like this. Okay, so okay, it seems to be installed here. It seems to be installed here. So we got the stuff. Now we are gonna check the connectivity by doing our NCCL test. I'm gonna go to the home directory first. Home directory first. You can do a cd tilde as well. You can do a cd tilde. So they both does the same thing. Okay. So we are here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a checkout to build this NCCL test. I said like we need to install the exact same things on both the machines, right? To make it run. So we are in this directory. We are in this directory on both the machines. Okay. Then I'm gonna build this stuff. Okay. Oh man, I'm here. I'm here, and let's see. So it's gonna take like a few seconds to complete. So we'll just do a wait and watch. So here, like the place where I got stuck most was about like building up this SSH connectivity, right? So I had to figure it out like what's wrong because I was copying the keys for the multiple times, and even after that, the connectivity was not being established. So after debugging, I figured it out. Okay, that's the port problem. It's still compiling. Okay. These are the various commands. This all reduce is a command that we ran in the previous video. This all reduce for okay. These are the various commands. Okay, that you can run it for the NCCL test. So I think the test that I have it is npr run all reduce puff. Okay. Before that, we need to build an host file as well. Yeah, that's something that I missed. Oh, cool. So we have this thing built, right? So we have here, and I'm gonna create a host file, which is my hosts. Okay, and this host file will contain, oh, sorry, not mkdir, r minus r, my host. it will be vim minus host. So this will contain the IP address of these two machines, okay, and the number of GPUs. So the slots will contain the GPU that I have it, on the number of GPUs on each machine. So on 13, we have 8 GPUs, slots are 8, okay, and on 213, there are another 8 GPUs, so the slots are again on 8. I'm gonna save this my host file and create the same my host file over here. Mhm. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's the first machine, not the first thing, and that's the second machine. So I have it here. Okay, I'll just do a cat to see if it's copied. Cat to see if it's copied. Cool. So I have this machine here and this machine here, and we are gonna run this test. Chic. But I'm going to do it on an info level, which is fine. Oh, I have a good news. So I can see using the device, so it's able to see the GPUs. Now the test should run fine. Okay, the test seems to be running fine. So I can see like all the 15 GPUs on this machine from 0 to 15. Okay, then we'll see about this. CUDA version is 12.1. It picked up, which is okay. See, I can see configuring AWS specific options, which is setting up an EFA. So EFA seems to be there. NCCL topo file is also there. Okay, this file I would need it for the distributed training actually. This topology file. NCCL share AWS XML topo file. This basically contains your topology structure. Okay, and there you go. So it's running up the test on like both the machines. So here, if you will see, so oh sorry, where are we? Okay, so here you can see like these are the 8 GPUs. So when we see on 213, the rank 0 starts with the GPU 0 of the, when we are on that 213, the rank 0 starts with its own GPU and the rank 15 goes to the GPU on machine 13, right? And these are the logs for this 13, 213. So side by side, you can see the activity on both the machines. Okay, you'll see like kind of a duplicate messages, which seems to be okay. So this is 13. Okay, you are setting up an EFA here on 13, right? And the same thing that you did it for EFA and all on 213. Yeah, here. You'll see you did it on 213. So the log messages are there for from both the machines, okay? And a bunch of things here. So here we can see like 213 failed to find, that's fine. We can turn on tuner. Okay, 213 still running. Okay, so 213. So the tests are still running, but I think we'll be able to do it. So that's how like since I'm able to run this test successfully, okay, so we can see like how to like establish these things on the Docker. I hope like you'll like the video. I think I know like this video is pretty large, but there were like bunch of things which were happening. So and I try to like put in everything on this machine on this tutorial. That's one of the reason okay that the videos are long, but I hope you'll find it interesting. and thanks for watching if you are still there. Thank you.